welcome back to Beating a Dead Horse. As always, I'm your host, Sean McKinda.
And I'm your host, Jackson Keller.
And last week, we promised that we're going to stop watching as much just trash that the media puts out. So, for a change of pace, we watched Upgrade. And, I don't know what we were expecting from this movie, but we definitely got what we deserved.
So I have a tale regarding this movie because we needed to shuffle the recording date around for varying reasons, and I forgot that we were watching Upgrade this week, and so I had to quickly watch it, but due to life things, I had stayed up all night the night before, and was like, oh shit, I want to catch some Z's before it's time to record, but I gotta watch Upgrade, gotta make sure I get that upgrade in, and so I started watching it.
It's very important to watch Upgrade. This movie is very, very important.
The most important film of the 21st century for sure. So important that during the first 30 minutes, I'd been up all night, but I'd been generally okay, keeping myself awake. I could feel myself slipping into dreams. It was an active fight to stay awake during the first part of Upgrade.
I'm excited to find out what part of this, when we're talking about it, you dreamed and what parts are real.
It'll probably be a tough distinction. I can't say. All I know is that when I did wake up, or when I fever dreamed it, it was a lot more entertaining. But it was still stupid. What are we doing with our lives?
He's not wrong. The first 30 minutes of this movie are a pretty painful slog. Overall, it's a dumb movie, but it's the right type of dumb where it gets really enjoyable about halfway into it. And the fight choreography alone is fucking wonderful. So, if you're into B-movie schlock and the you'll probably like this movie quite a bit. It was a lot of fun. Just don't give up after 30 minutes. And I understand if you did, because it's not good.
Yeah, if this is your bag, if you're predisposed to enjoy this sort of thing, I would recommend it. If it's not like a Hurricane Heist situation where you have a stupid premise that fails to deliver. If anything, this is the opposite, where the premise isn't that stupid, but the execution is hysterical, which is really what you want. I think that's the sort of perfect balance that keeps you away from that cynical Sharknado territory.
This movie, to just I'm gonna give you a plot summary really quick, just so you know exactly what we're talking about. This movie's Venom. We just watched Venom again, but we watched a gory Venom, so. That's all I wanted out of Venom, to be perfectly honest. Just a little bit more gore, a little bit more bite, no pun intended.
In our pre-discussion, I truly believe this, that if you fusion dance these two movies, Venom and Hurricane Heist, what are we talking about? Upgrade. If you fuse these two movies together with sort of the fun action and the gore and the memorable visual elements of Upgrade with the Tom Hardy silly Bagul looking man talking to Tom Hardy while he shovels frozen tater tots down his throat. If you combined all those elements, you would have the perfect movie, I think. As it is, we have two movies that are entertaining schlock for different reasons, but have long stretches where they are quite dull. Because, it's like Harry Potter. Only one can't live while the other survives.
Venom and Upgrade, they're like Harry Potter in a lot of ways.
Remember that part when Harry Potter bashes in Seamus Finnegan's skull and eats his brain and has an argument with his... excuse me. I'm thinking of Ron and Scabbers, the true Venom duo.
Come on. If you're going to get a story, if you're going to make a reference, you got to at least make the correct reference. Because, there's that whole sequence in book 4 where Scabbers does become Ron. the skin expands outwards and covers him in its entirety, and like it plays into the Goblet of Fire narrative really well. Because I think it's the third challenge where they have to go underwater. Ron goes with Harry in that time, and he uses his little nose to sniff out where the mer people are, and like it narratively fits just really well. It's just very strange at how well it does tie in with the ideas of Upgrade and Venom.
You know,
we are very tired. We've had a long couple days, so I apologize for what you're about to listen to.
Just a side note, that I've recently watched Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and I still wasn't sure how much of what you just said was accurate.
Oh no. Okay, yeah, no. It's been a lot. Let's just talk about this fucking movie, because I just want to talk about this movie. There's a lot to talk about, but there's also nothing to talk about.
Spoilers, you don't care about spoilers. Just, grab yourself a nice, hot mug of something. Get some tea, get some coffee. Well, don't get coffee, it's late. Get some hot apple cider because it's fall. Get all cozy, get your blanket. We're going to have a nice fireside chat about Venom. No, wait.
Upgrade.
We're
talking about Upgrade.
I legit cannot remember what this fucking movie's name is. I went to Family Video, the only family video in the United States, and I was looking on the shelves, and I knew that we had talked about what movie we were watching this week, but I was just running back and forth in the recently released section. I cannot remember what this movie I'm supposed to watch is fucking called.
See, you can keep in mind this way. If you're thinking of Venom, if your mind doesn't immediately go enum, then it's not the movie that you're watching. So
for some reason I keep calling it Future World.
Oh, I mean, we did, I feel like this is what we wanted Future World to be in every way, shape, and form. And actually, just a quick aside about Future World. I have lent it out to two people. One of which is, I'm trying not to diss these people, but they tend to be less critical of movies. Let's put it that way. More willing to just be like, all right, hey, that wasn't a great movie, but I enjoyed it. And the first one's it sounds like the perfect type of B-movie bullshit that I'm into. Let me borrow it. Let me see it. So I pass it off to him, and I get a text a couple days later. It's Future World is just as bad as you told me it was. I'm like, I know what your taste is. I know you're not going to like it. It's not a good movie. What are you doing? Just trust me on this. I understand the difference between a schlocky B movie like Upgrade, where you'll enjoy it, and trash. And then a couple days later, I lent it out to a different person who is once again right up their alley. Bad movies, all that good stuff. And he texted me back. He's like, yeah, and he texted me about halfway through it and said, I don't know why I'm still watching this. And I'm like, yes. Future World is one of the worst things we've watched on this podcast. It was miserable.
I guess you could say it's a real wild card.
Is that a reference to something?
It's a reference to Future World, where Mila Jovovich throws the machete.
I don't remember what you're talking about at all.
He's repressed it. All right, we'll move on.
Oh man, Future World. Upgrade. Let's talk about Upgrade.
I feel like I bring up Future World because I feel like there's a similarity in that when I started watching both, they both felt like fake movies. It's like Upgrade's first...
You fake movie.
President Donald J. Trump taking the stands, declaring in his press conference what is and is not a fake film. Fake geek girls, fake geek boys, fake geek movies,
fake hedgehogs.
We're all fake. Faker, I think you're the real faker around here. I don't know.
This is just a stream of consciousness. Nothing. This is nothing. This is nothing.
I had a point, but then I got caught up in the word fake. All right. Okay. So, Shadow the Hedgehog notwithstanding, Donald Trump notwithstanding, Gamergate notwithstanding, all that aside, this feels like a fake movie because everything in the first 30 minutes is not like they don't make any super like wrong or out there choices, but it's such like a perfunctory plot. And like I knew as soon as I saw the wife character, like just one look at the actress's face, like that way she was smiling and talking, you just know instantly. I'm like, oh, you're destined for the fridge. It's gonna happen within like the next like 10 minutes, and that's what the rest of this movie is gonna be about. And then it happened, and then the main boy cried, and then he had
for like 20 minutes.
For like 20 minutes, they really go to like such lengths to show his like future disability with all the arms helping him out, and he's sad about it because he used to be
it's symbolic.
It's a good old American boy. He likes to drive his cars, but the cars are automated and the world is leaving him behind. And the themes are really over the head until the movie decides it's about VR for some daft reason.
I also got some Existence vibes from this a little bit. Did you get that?
Oh yeah, like kind of like the stilted acting.
Yeah.
Well, because I think the way I would describe it most is that I feel like it was trying for like the affect of like a Blade Runner movie, like sort of cold and kind of distant without anything smart to back it up.
Well, I mean, they definitely matched the lighting of Blade Runner movies.
They definitely did. And I feel like a lot of the shots and just the whole kind of that whole subplot about the upgraded humans going out and Fisk or whoever saying that he wants Gray to join them as part of the new race of, machines. I mean, that all felt very...
Why was his name Gray and her name Ash? They're both shades of gray. What does that mean?
That means that moral ambiguity. It means that he's a gray zone between man and machine.
But why is she Ash because she's dead?
Yes.
So, like, in the first 10 minutes of the movie, I just need to talk about this because I'll post a GIF of it when I post this episode because I'm obsessed with this moment now. Because I saw it and I could not believe it. A standard movie trope is like when something dramatic happens, the camera kind of pans up and does like a flip, like your world has been turned on its head and then it rights itself. Like everything's changed now, and so like it's not like the most original camera technique in the world, but it's effective. It gets the point across. This movie takes it one step further by it pans up from a scene, does a full 360 back onto the scene, and then pans up another 90 degrees to a hospital room. And it's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. We were talking about this, trying to figure out what it would compare to. Like, at what point would anyone use this in anything? And we could not come up with a solid reason to put a 360 in there, unless you're like a toddler just going, look at me, I can make the camera do this. Whee!
Mommy, do you like my movie? I called it Upgrade.
And the weird part is, though, too, is that, like, I'm just bashing the cinematography here. And, like, a lot of it is pretty boring and not necessarily super interesting. There's a couple shots when he's in his house with, like, the robot arms around him that are, like, visually interesting to look at. But, like, I stared at them trying to figure out what it thematically meant. Like, he's got, like, this ornate design above him. And it just, I got nothing for you. So, like, it looks all right. There's some impressive moments. And then we get to the fight scenes, and it suddenly looks like the most well-choreographed thing ever. Like, it just amps it up to 11 and is fucking wonderful.
I mean, the fight scenes are a real shock to the system, especially that first.
The first one is wild.
Yeah. Because with these kind of movies, when the acting is this bad and the writing is this bad, and even if it's a schlocky premise, I kind of end up expecting it to be a Hurricane Heist situation where the action will be just as mediocre and forgettable as the rest of the movie. But in this case, that was absolutely not true. He goes Ultra Instinct on this guy, and then, like, shoves a knife into his mouth and, like, guillotines the top of his head off with, like, a Bowie knife, or, like, a butcher knife.
That will stick with me. That was, like, I sat bolt upright when that happened. Because, like, the fight scene up to that point, like, the choreography was really good. It was really interesting. They used this technique, actually, I looked this up because I was trying to figure out how they did it and everything like that, because that was really interesting. So all the fight scenes and a couple of other scenes as well, what they did was they stuck an iPhone on his person and told the camera to track it. So, like, the camera is focused on one point of his body, and as he moves, the camera moves in the exact same way that he does, and it gives it this really cool focused effect on him. And it's, like, designed to be stilted and robotic and everything. And, like, so I was already interested in the fight scene at that point because it was really cool. And then in the middle of it, he just takes the knife, puts it in his mouth so the blade are, like, he's, like, doing the Joker thing, and then just pulls. And as Jackson said, he, like, bisects the dude's head at the jaw. And it was the most jarring, incredible way to kill the first guy. It was wonderful.
I mean, we specifically sought out this movie because it sounded like Venom, but with the gore that Venom should have had. And even, like, the first 30 minutes don't prepare you for it. The first 30 minutes, like, you kind of forget that the movie's rated R. The only death you see is, like, the like, PG-13, like, appropriate, like, point where, the guy and his wife get shot. And then, it's just kind of dull, plotting, thudding angst. And then this happens, and you're like, oh my God. Am I watching a film? Am I watching a schlocky film that actually delivers on the choreography? Is this happening? Could it be possible?
Yeah, it turns itself around really quick. And, like, as I said, I do genuinely really like the back half of this movie. I would recommend watching it for that. Just suffer through the first half.
All right. Here's a minor debate we can have. I mean, I guess we kind of spoiled it already. But for those in general, would you say that it would be worth it to just skip the first half of this movie and go straight to the good stuff? Or is the good stuff even better because the movie made you wait for it?
I think it's better because the movie made you wait for it. The first half hour is, like, the right amount of boring where, like, it's not egregious. You're not spending the whole time looking at the clock. It's just kind of like, all right, it's perfunctory. Let's just move forward type of thing. It never felt so egregiously boring that I wanted to get up and walk away. Like, look at your phone while it happens. That's fine. It's time for you to do some light other things. Play Pokemon Go. Do something like that. Yeah. But, like, I don't think it's worth it to skip it because, like, when it hits, it's so jarringly different. It's really effective.
That's fair. I can get behind that. I think the only reason I might have been in, like, intolerable territory is that I was and still am exhausted. So maybe I didn't give Upgrade the fair shake it deserves.
See, I have to always compare these movies because Sam and I watch a ton of bad movies, and, like, they range the gamut from enjoyably bad to so bad that, like, I am forcing myself to stay awake as Sam is already asleep, and I'm just, like, painfully like, why am I still here? So I might have a little bit of a higher threshold than the average person as well. I mean, if you ever want to test, go watch Love on a Leash on Amazon Prime. It's free. It'll test your patience. I don't know if I've talked about this movie on the podcast, but I do need to mention it just really quick. Once again, original Thick Daddy Scott Wampler pointed us in the correct direction for this one. And we watched, like, we went to watch it, and we spent 30 minutes changing what we were watching on. Like, we brought down, like, we have a Amazon Fire Stick, and we brought that down, and then we switched to the PS4, and then we switched to, like, Chromecast, trying to figure out why we weren't getting any sound. We're like, something has to be wrong here. Something's broken. And as it turns out, there's no music in the entire movie. So the first 5 minutes are just like a slideshow of distinct clips. And it is the most mind-boggling thing in the world. We're like, hey, is something wrong? Did we break something? Where's the music? Where's anything?
I think for a hot minute, I just experienced like the Mandela effect, like the Berenstain Bears thing, because I thought that we had watched Love on a Leash, and I just had like a flashpoint memory of this, even though I know that isn't the movie that we watched, because we did a double feature of the Super Mario Bros. Movie and the Love Guru, which is a different movie entirely.
It is. Also, that wasn't a double feature. That was one movie, one night for 4 nights, and that included 2 Adam Sandler movies.
That's right. That's right. I couldn't remember if we did 2 nights, 2 double features, or just one every day.
That was a poor decision for a week. The only benefit was that we went somewhere with air conditioning.
But we're not here to talk about Love Guru on a Leash. We're here to talk about Future World.
Oh, Love Guru on a Leash is my favorite thing. Holy shit. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Talk about Future World.
All right, so Future World. Here in Future World, we have robots, and then there's a lot of I mean, I guess if you are gonna watch this movie and feel like for some schlocky fun, maybe like content warning for like ableism, because I felt like a lot of what they were doing with like the wheelchair was not okay.
No, there was definitely some questionable decisions with that.
Like I get, like, it makes sense from the character's perspective that he's like really torn up about it, and that it's presented as this terrible thing because his whole life was that he was kind of the last, like, you know, manual transition, get your hands dirty kind of guy in this automated world. So, like, you know, yeah, that's fine for the character and all. But, like, then when they go, that whole scene in the bar with the way they treated him was just, like, I know they're supposed to be the bad guys. I'm like, this is not the right note.
And like, he plays into it, too. Because at that point, he already has the stem, so he can walk again. And, like, he's playing into the whole, you know, I'm in a wheelchair thing, and it's all kind of hinky and not great.
Yeah, and then, like, he gets up in front of the other guy in the wheelchair, but then he's faking it too. I feel like someone who made this movie met someone in a wheelchair that they just didn't like. That was just really rude to them, because it's a woo lad.
yeah, no, there's definitely be aware of that. It's not the greatest in that regard, but I at the same time, like, I can't say I was super shocked, just because, like, I feel like these schlocky B movies always have something in them that's, like, just super #problematic.
I mean, The Room is literally, like, one man super fucked up, like, misogynist creep, like, Shakespearean tragedy as cuckoldry, like, fantasy, where he's the hero and all women are evil and sinful. So it's weird how that's baked into these movies, but I guess if they were made by smart people, they wouldn't be bad.
I mean, that is a fair point, to be perfectly honest. I want to talk about just because you were talking about stilted actors a little bit earlier, and the part that it really got me right away was that as soon as he got his stem, which is the thing that lets him walk again after he gets like cow killed in the neck. That made no sense. He gets stabbed in the neck, like shot in the neck, and it separates his vertebrae, and he gets paralyzed. And then they give him stem, and it's his brain stem computer thing, and
also like a stem cell.
It works on many levels, and also science, technology, engineering, and math. It's a STEM. It's STEM.
We can do metaphors.
Do you get it? Because actually, let's do metaphors. Let's talk about the visual metaphor of the movie, where as soon as he gets it, he starts walking like a 1980s robot. It is wild. Like, I don't understand. As soon as this happens, they're like, all right, no, but you have to walk more robotic. And my question is, why? Why would this happen? Why would this cause his limbs to move like a 1980s robot? Those move like that because they lack fine motor functions. There's nothing about him that would lack those motor functions. His limbs still function.
I think the idea, having
was lol visual metaphor. He's a robot.
Well, kind of. I'll give them a little bit of credit because in our pre-discussion I compared him to Michael Myers, and as you sort of pointed out in your lovely little piece on Halloween that you can read on 25yearslatersite.com. But like Michael walks like that to be very deliberate, very like focused on his task, like unswayed, unbound, unbroken, whatever. And I think that's what they were going for with the meta, with STEM, with Ultron, whatever.
But like the way Michael moves is just like very. It's more of a deliberate drive behind it than
right.
I think a robotic angularness to it.
So I was gonna say, like, I think that's what they're going for, but I think in effect it looks more like the robot from that movie that SpongeBob gets scared of, and then thinks Mr. Krabs is.
Oh, you mean beep boop boop beep boop
beep boop boop bop beep beep boop beep boop bop.
This episode is a fucking mess.
I mean, I love how we make this declaration that we're only bringing the hashtag good content from now on because we're masters of our own fate, not bound by SEO, and we get two fucking exhausted schlubs dabbing all over fucking Future World. It's not Future World. It's not. Why do I keep calling it that?
I thought it was a joke. I was playing into it.
Like it was a joke at first, but I keep doing it unironically now. Someone stop me.
God. Yeah, no, we decided, and like, honest to God, I thought we'd have like things to talk about with this movie, like kind of getting into theme or something like that, because like it seemed like a movie that could have a little bit more theme behind it, and it tries to have themes, it tries to have ideas, it tries, like I basically covered this cinematography already with it's either excellent or terrible, and there's no in between. The themes are a nightmare of the past is better, but the good is the future, but also the future is bad, so let's blend it and get some gray ash. It's
VR all of a sudden. Maybe
VR.
we're the machines. The fake is better than the real.
Build a gun with the teeth from the bones in the soup. That's going to appeal to the 12 people who have seen Existence.
That's going to appeal to everyone in my undergraduate film class who are the 12 people who've seen Existence.
I mean, that's assuming they've watched it. I feel like a lot of people looked at that and went, wow, I'm not watching this shit. What are you talking about?
So went, absolutely not. Oh, okay. I have some things I wanted to talk about. So this movie's got a twist.
Wait, what movie are we watching?
Existence.
Okay.
So it has a twist where the Ultron is slowly being revealed to be.
I don't think anyone can keep track of who anyone is anymore.
I'm just trying to give you the experience of being me while watching this movie.
Just a quick breakdown. Just really quick. We're a half an hour in. Let's do a quick character breakdown. The movie we watched is Upgrade / Venom / Existence / Future World. The main character's name is Gray. We have not changed that. His wife's name is Ash. Still don't get it. The robot that goes in him is STEM, Ultron, Dick Butt. Who fucking cares? And then there's also, like, people that he has to go kill because they killed his wife, and the man who put it in, and his name is Draco Malfoy.
Draco Malfoy and Justin Bieber's forbidden horrible science experiment where they tried to combine their DNA, and it resulted in a chimera more terrible than we can even imagine. I love how we see this guy for like 3 minutes and he's obviously like the most shady man in the world. And then,
it's because he owns a tech company in the future. Like, that's just shorthand in every movie that he is the dick.
No, that he is the villain. So I guess, I was just going to talk about the twist. So I guess the twist is that this technology was ruling over him all along. And I thought he was going to have like a Venom, like a Venom in him, like in Venom. And then he didn't. And it was just the same one with this really elaborate scheme that can just be used to patch any sort of holes in the movie for why he doesn't take an obvious course of action. Like when he says he can't hijack the cars, and then he just hijacks the car. I was never clear on what exactly he could do, or why he desired this human form if he was gonna move like Robot Mr. Krabs.
The weird part, more than anything, is that they took the time to explain this. Like, it was one thing that, like, as I was watching, because you're right, he just gets powers sometimes that he does, other times he doesn't. Like, he can take over Gray's body, the robot Ultron can, and, make him do things in the optimal way, but he won't take over his body while he's driving, despite the fact that I imagine that this superior being could probably drive better, take corners tighter, understand the physics of what's going on better in heartbeats as opposed to a human. So he's like, but I can't do it, you drive. And so, like, when they go back and explain the whole plot, and it's like, if you hadn't explained it, it wouldn't have opened up all these huge plot holes of why couldn't he have done that sooner?
And it's like, it's treated as this big twist that, like, he wanted Gray because he was the ideal man or whatever.
He didn't have any augmentations.
Yeah, to be his avatar. And, like, and it's treated as, like, this big important twist. And I guess I didn't really see it coming, but only because I didn't really think about it at all, because the plot is...
care.
I was going to say, not only did I not care, but the plot is so, like, thin and stupid. It's just like a revenge. So really it feels like, this is a dank reference. I think in Richard II, one of those Shakespeare plays.
Oh my god, we've done it. We've made a literary reference that's like competent. Holy shit.
Well, I can't even remember which one it is the problem.
Who cares? It's not anime.
I guess you just got to get me in like a day's stupor for me to bring out Richard III. But there's a scene in that where everyone's insulting each other's honor and shit, and they keep throwing the gauntlet down to challenge each other to duels. But they run out of gauntlets, and so they have to keep like picking them off the ground and having their squires like hand them to each other to throw down new gauntlets. And that was just my experience watching the twists and turns of this movie, trying to be like dramatic about who the true mastermind behind who killed this like mechanic schlub's wife. First it was Wilson Fisk, and then it was Justin Malfoy, and then it was Ultron, and it was all part of a scheme to blend the real and the fake, to bring the future into the past, which was better, but it's not, because the future does everything better, but it's fake, so who cares? And there's silly VR guys, and
ultimately none of it matters.
I mean, other than that, I suppose, like, what can we say about this movie other than, like, that scene where he, like, stabbed the guy who was metal as shit?
Yeah. Yeah, the action in this movie is fucking great. It's worth it alone for that. I don't know. Do you want to talk about anything else in this fucking movie?
Oh, God. I mean, what about... I feel like there was, but now my mind goes completely blank. I'm sad for his mom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about his mom. His mom's gonna go through
okay, unironically, that was actually really nice that, like, his mom showed up and was a character for, like, this, like, big gruff, like, manly man boy. He still like cried in front of his mom, and she cared about him. That was sweet.
She felt like the Birdemic mom. Like, she was like a really earnest actress
Yeah.
and like just doing her best, and it was lovely. It was really nice.
So I felt bad for her, and now her son's gonna Ultron everybody.
I'm gonna Ultron everybody. What are you gonna do?
I feel like this is the dark night of the soul for beating a dead horse right here.
Yeah, let's just fucking wrap this up here. Let's wrap this national nightmare over. Let's just call it. I've been Sean McKinda. Find me on Twitter, Sean_McKinda, website, isortative.com. I have an article on 25 years later site.com. Go check that out. It was a pretty good article, if I do say so myself. It was supposed to be like a short little thing, and then I wrote like 5 pages. So I included GIFs, so that should make it easier for you.
Pretty pictures are good. And I'm Jackson Keller. You can find me 1 foot in the grave at Jackson J. Keller at twitter.com, where I'm not. And it's a dead account for a dead man. I've been a ghost all along.
Follow the podcast at BADH_cast. I don't have any time for nonsense anymore. I'm so tired. I want to go to bed. You can check out, we tweet like updates and stuff like that. It's also a great place that if you do want to get in touch with Jackson, tweet at that. I'll pass the information on to him. As always, thanks to Lords of the Highway for use of our theme song. It is Suicide, alternate take off the album High Octane, Low Expectations. Go check them out. They're a great band, available on Spotify, all that good stuff. Also, shout out to 25 years later site.com. I don't know why you guys hosted this episode, and I am so sorry. Like, I don't know what else to tell you guys. My bad.
I mean, no memes. No memes. Memes aside, we did you dirty 25 years later.
We made an extended SpongeBob reference. I don't even know what to take from that. Like, we just did it. Next week we're gonna be talking about Overlord, which I feel like is gonna be another upgrade, but for a different reason. So tune in for that one. I'm really excited about it, but we'll see, I guess. I don't know. Bye.